Listen, me and you have got to talk for a second. I'm about to make a tier list of the bosses in Elden Ring. Now, these are extreme opinions. You won't like them. In fact, many of you will scream at me. You'll call me an idiot, but I fully expect that, so it softens the pain a little bit. But the thing is, my opinions are weird, and I'm okay with that. Also, this light is burning my retinas. Please help. You're not going to like what I have to say, but my opinions are my own, and after fighting these guys so many times, after hearing people make so many tier lists, I've finally come to terms with the fact that I don't care anymore. If I think something, I'm going to say it. And one thing I'm going to say is that story does not count for these rankings. I'm so sick of people counting story as like half of what they like about a boss. If a boss sucks, I don't care how good their story is. The boss sucks, I'll put them in F tier. I don't care. Now, looks, appearance, that's what you're going to be looking at the whole time you're fighting. So it makes a little more sense. That's like 2 or 3 out of my 10 points. Story is 1. If I even know the story, it's usually 0. I don't give a crap. But it's like 2 or 3 of the points. Gameplay, rewards, things like, whether it's optional or not, things like that count for most of the points. 7, 8 out of the 10 points go towards the gameplay, not the story. I'm sick of that crap. So that's the basis of my ranking. If you want to rank story, but don't bundle story, gameplay, looks, and everything all into one. That's stupid. I hate it. Everyone does it. This list is based on gameplay. With that in mind, let's just start with someone crazy. Let's go with Astel, Natural Born of the Void. Because Astel is cool. Has a relatively wide moveset. Lower damage for how wide the moveset is, which is actually a really good thing because it has a lot of moves that'll mess you up. But it also looks amazing on top of that, so that's why looks can be good. Looks can be alright. But with that in mind, I think just good. It's a good boss. It's not average like C, it's just good. It's good for what it is. Anyways, let's talk about Fortisax. Overrated as crap if you ask me. It's literally a normal dragon with a really annoying lightning tracking ability. With like red lightning. You can get used to it. He's not that hard. He's just annoying. It's a dragon fight. What do you want? It's just another dragon fight. Speaking of another dragon fight, let's just go ahead and slap all these dragons in C. This is the freezing one. Actually, no, the freezing one can go in D, because it's annoying. If you've fought it enough times, you know what I'm talking about. The frost dragon is especially annoying. Put that one in D. I left that one there for a reason. Like, it has these annoying roars that are extremely difficult to dodge if you're not on your horse. The fog thing is kind of annoying. It just goes away anyway, so who cares? Why not just let the dragon fly in? So it's basically just a dragon, but more annoying attacks. So let's talk about this magma worm. I don't care what they are specifically by name, but also delete these things. I hate them. The magma worms are stupid. It's literally just the whole boss's thing is just knock you on your back 50 times in a row. Constantly. Like, they're not hard to beat. They're just really annoying. Like, honestly, if you deleted them from the game, I don't think anyone would be crying. The first phase is basically just the magma worm spamming its charge attack over and over again. It's really annoying. I hate it. Get rid of it. Easy F tier. Not even close. The Bell-Bearing Hunter was actually kind of cool. It was so unexpected. The first time I found that guy, I was like, oh my gosh. It was an experience. I actually really like that. He's pretty tough. I don't like him as much as Estelle, but I think he's a really cool surprise. He's a good jumper for the average player. So I'm going to put him in B tier. Let's go with a weird one. Let's go with Count Ymir. He's part of a quest line in the DLC where you ring the two, or you blow into the 2 big finger things that are taking up way too big of a chunk of the map with like nothing in it. He's a good fight. His story is relatively interesting. You can kind of imply what the story is about just from talking to him. You don't really need to be told it. So if I know the story and I think it doesn't really intrude in any way, yeah. And you know, you see his character progress, so it's not like the rest of the bosses where you just end up killing them after not knowing anything about him. I like it. I might have put him a little high before, but he's got a pretty good variety of attacks, but he's not overpowered or anything. Just a nice little capper to that questline. Alright, the Godskin Apostle is a good fight. I don't remember as much about the Bell-Bearing, so I'll put him on B tier above the Bell-Bearing. Apostle is alright. The Apostle's fine. His moveset makes sense. I wouldn't say any of his moves could be categorized as bullcrap. It's just a good, solid fight. Noble, on the other hand, Godskin Noble, not as big a fan of that one, to be honest. It feels like his attacks are annoyingly delayed just for the sake of being annoyingly delayed. And he's got those constant pierce attacks. We'll revisit that in a moment with a different boss. And he's just not as fun to fight, especially when he does the roll thing. You can't really do anything about that except from hide behind a pillar. Makes me wonder why they did it in the first place. Like, yeah, let's remake Smo's hammer bash charge thing from Dark Souls 1 because people like that. So I don't really like the Noble that much. He's a competent boss. His arena's alright looking. He's a boss, right? Now, Godskin Duo, on the other hand, delete it. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that one. Delete it. Both of them together do not make for a good combo. They do. I understand they're both Godskins. It makes a little sense, but from a gameplay perspective, putting them together makes no sense. They don't even do anything like important to the story. They're just there to be another boss to beat. And I actually kind of hate their reward is actually kind of good because it kind of makes you need to beat them. You can buy more somber smithing stones from them after the fact, or you can take the Bellberry to the merchants. It's annoying how good of a reward it is because Godskin Duo. Ugh. Here's a boss people often overlook: the Dragonkin Soldier. He's actually kind of good. I don't know anything about him. His arena's fine. He looks somewhat interesting. His moveset's kind of cool, but I actually think he's kind of underrated. He can also be very hard if you find him too early. But I think he's just a really solid fight. He can be kind of annoying to get to sometimes, but yeah, I think he's underrated. Don't put him in B tier. He can be found underground in like the area with all the ants. He can be found down there, if you know what I'm talking about. Not the one next to where Fortisax is located. Not near there. I mean, more towards the city of Noxtella, whatever it's called. Dragon Peak Drake, pretty sure is just another dragon. Gonna slap that in C tier. Elmer of the Briar is extremely annoying. He seems to have more interesting story, but I don't know. I don't care because he was in front of the picture of Melania in that one mansion north at the Altus Plateau. But quite frankly, he's really annoying to fight, and I don't like him. Healing is borderline impossible with him because he has an attack for every range. I don't say that exaggeratively. I mean, he literally has an attack for every single range. It's really annoying. Yeah, I just don't like him. I'm just gonna leave him in D tier. Don't delete him because he's kind of cool. He's got like this sort of thorny thing going on, especially with his weapon is really unique. Oh, Patches, let's freaking go! S tier, Bobby. Patches is a fantastic joke boss. Like, he's a bit out of the way, but he also sells you useful items. He's actually like a genuinely good, important character to get. And he'll meet you at the Volcano Manor. He's just a funny boss. Like, he's not hard in the slightest. He's not really meant to be a boss. It's just funny how he shows up and he's like, yeah, you stealing from me, I'ma get you. And then you wreck his face and he's like, ah. So yeah, I love Patches. He's not, I'm not even counting him as a boss. He's more like a character. I don't even know why he's on tier lists like this. Anyways, moving on. Let's go with DLC one. Have I done any DLCs? I don't think I have. Let's talk about Rolana. Okay, so ignoring the fact that most playstyles are kind of impossible in the DLC that aren't heavy poise strength or heavy bleed and or frost. Rolana's just annoying. Rolana's just annoying to fight. Like, who actually likes fighting Rolana? Like, genuinely, who enjoys fighting Rolana? Here's the thing about some of these bosses, and I'll revisit this topic momentarily. When a majority of their moveset looks the same, that's an issue. Now, in the DLC's case, add a crap ton of damage onto that, and you suddenly have bosses that are borderline impossible to learn outside of brute force or a lot of summoning help. But either way, I don't like Rolana. Her rewards are really good though, and it's not like she doesn't have any creativity in her moveset. But man, that stupid moon attack, the triple moon thing, where for some reason rolling doesn't work until the last one, but you have to jump the first two. It's so stupid. It's the same move. Why does rolling not work for the first two, or why does only jumping not work for all three of them? That's stupid. That is stupid. I'm convinced the DLC was not playtested enough, as we will visit later on as well. Rolana's fine. Really annoying to fight, but the rewards are so good I'm gonna leave her in C. It's literally the swords. I'm ranking the swords she's holding. Okay, that's what's getting her here. It's the swords, not the boss fight. The swords are cool. I like the swords, so she can stay in C. She's safe. Loretta, Knight of the Halig Tree, basically magic dude on horse or magic woman on horse. I don't care. It's fine. It's an average boss. Good amount of runes, gives you a sorcery. is okay, is boss that exists. Also, I probably should move Rolana up a little. It looks about right. Okay. C tier is all fixed up. So C tier for Loretta. Speaking of, there's another version of her that's basically discount of a discount. Can I find that? Royal Knight Loretta. Basically a spirit version. Doesn't need to exist. It's just a discount version of the other one. It's pretty much just there to defend Ronnie. Bottom D. Like it's. I guess it just needs to exist just by the logic of the fact that a boss needs to defend that whole property. But it's also just kind of stupid. it's a discount of the Halleck Tree version. It's stupid. Anyways, moving on. I know this is an overworld boss, but I want to talk about the Knights Cavalry because they're unique enough. They're just more annoying horse enemies. I don't know what they're really there for. I don't usually enjoy fighting them. I like wrecking their face as fast as possible. Fun fact, if you put a horse enemy to sleep, which the Knights Cavalry is immune to, by the way, if you put a horse enemy to sleep, the rider will just fall off the horse. So that's a fun little factoid for you. I mean, yeah, I don't really care for it. They're cool in theory to have a nighttime only boss, but those specifically are just slightly stronger horse enemy. So I'm only going to keep these in here, even though I missed them on putting them away. I'm going to go ahead and rank these just because I know about them. They actually play off of each other really well, surprisingly enough. The reward is meh, but they actually are a decent fight. I'll put them a little higher on C, just for what they are. Relatively speaking, as a world boss, they are okay. They are fine. They're at least unique. Nox Sorceress and Nox Priest, they may be repeated somewhere else. I don't really remember. But assuming they're not, I'm just going to leave them in C. Matir, Mother of Fingers. I hate it. Don't delete it, but I hate it. It's insanely strong for what it is. It's insanely annoying to fight. Another knock you on your back 50 times kind of enemy. And it does this dumb thing where it shoots in the sky and fires really hard to dodge lasers. And a lot of DLC bosses have an issue with having a ridiculous amount of damage. I'm only putting her higher on D tier because it's a unique fight at the very least. It's just... I hate fighting it. I hate actually fighting. The rewards are fine. Kind of funny sometimes, but no. I guess Ymir is also the reward for fighting her. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. Let's talk about Mohg the Omen. Not Mohg the Lord of Blood. This one is the one under the capital. Where you, just before you get the Frenzied Flame, you can get the Fingerprint Stone Shield, which is the only reason I ever have to fight him at this point. Mohg the Omen. To be honest, I actually like him more than the Lord of Blood. That'll sound weird, but I'll explain that when I get to Mohg, the Lord of Blood. I just like him more. I'm not going to explain myself yet. He's going to stay in A tier. I like him, but let's just leave it at that for the time being. Romina, Saint of the Bud. Fun arena, fun rewards, cool design. I think I gave her I've tried to record this a few times, but I just kept feeling uneasy about my opinion, so I went back and fought every boss and gathered my opinions back up. I think I was giving her a little too much credit, but no, I'm gonna leave her an A. I kind of want to put her in S, but I can't really do it. I don't know why. To be honest, I'm not really sure why. I enjoy the fight. It's just something about it that's not sticking with me. Something about the fight that I don't like. I think the rot's a bit overkill, but by the time you get to that point, you'll have so much health the rot barely makes a dent anyways, so whatever, I suppose. Romina is good. Really good, in fact. The rewards are fun, though. Ugh. I just don't really have a reason to not put her in S tier is the problem. She's one of my favorite DLC bosses. No, I'm sticking with my gut, A tier. I don't know why. Don't ask why. I don't know why she's only A tier. There's something there I don't like. Maybe it's a certain move that gets on my nerves. I don't know. There's just something there I don't like. It maybe is just a move. I don't recall. Something about it is just telling me not to put it in S tier. So hey, maybe put it in A+. I don't know. If there was an A+ here, I would do that. Anyways, moving on. Godfrey Golden Shade is bizarre. Like, why is it here? It's free runes, basically, and there's a Stake of America right there, so it's not, like, free runes before Morgott, I suppose. So, cool. He's still fun to fight, I guess. But by the time you get to Godfrey, you'll have forgotten all those moves anyways, so I don't know what the point is. Something story, don't care, move on. Mimic tier. Just a fun idea for a fight, really. The Mimic tier, you stumble onto something that copies your exact build. It's a fun idea. Come on, like it's I mean, sure, beating it might not be the hardest thing ever, but it's a fun, I just like the idea. It's fun. It's a fun idea. A tier, easy. S tier just because... S tier because it doesn't actually give you the Mimic tier for beating it. Like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, why would you... Like, the Mimic tier itself isn't even too ridiculously far away from where you fight the Mimic tier. Why not just give you the Mimic tier for fighting the Mimic tier? Does that not make more sense? I feel like that makes more sense. Anyways, moving on. Let's hit another DLC because we seem to be loose on those. Dryleaf Dane. Also, I just realized Leda and them aren't here. Dryleaf Dane is funny. You just emote in front of him and you suddenly fight him. He's pretty easy to beat as well, but I think he's really unique. He's just a really unique fight, so I'll just stick him in B. And you get his martial art attack for beating him, which is a cool reward, so... Coolio. He's just a fight that is good. It's as simple as that. Bottom F, bottom F, bottom F. I would rather fight Godskin Duo 10 times than fight this stupid freaking bird. This bird needs to jump off a cliff. Can someone tell me how to trick this bird into falling off the cliff up there at the mountaintop of the Giants area? Can we please? How do I kill it faster? However fast you can kill it is not fast enough. This thing needs to die. Its hitboxes are stupidly wonky. Its AoE is ridiculous. Its aggression is also ridiculous. Fighting it is the most obnoxious thing ever. It has a bajillion resistances. It's resistant to like everything. Holy damage is apparently something it's weak to, but I didn't even notice that much of a difference, to be honest. It's so annoying to fight. Delete it. Delete it. I hate it more than every other boss in this entire list. Spoiler alert. Nothing else is ever going to top it. Get rid of it. Delete it. I hate it. Another dragon. I'm just keeping dragons in here to make a point that all the dragons are the same. C tier. C tier, C tier, C tier. Ghost Flame Dragon. Again, C tier. It's just a dragon again. Just because they change one or two moves doesn't make much of a difference unless you're the Frost Dragon. In that case, get rid of it. I don't like it. Talk about Commander O'Neill. O'Neill is the one down in Kaled that's just chilling, I guess. I don't know what happens when it rains. Does he just stand there like an idiot? He's kind of cool. He's not ridiculously hard or anything. He's just a solid fight. Maybe a little too easy sometimes. You can make it as hard or as easy as you want to because he's an open world boss. But he's also mandatory if you want to get rid of your Frenzied Flame or if you want to do the Millicent quest line. And he gives you alright rewards. He is a fight that exists. Kind of fun to summon since he also summons. And speaking of summoning, let's talk about Commander Neal. I don't think I can put him any higher than B because I'm kind of mixed on the fact that he starts with help. I still summon, but I don't often want to. I like summoning. It's just that I don't want to feel like I'm forced to, and when he starts with two lackeys that are kind of hard to take down with him, that makes me feel like I have to summon, so I don't really like Commander Neal. Him himself is fine. Him himself as a boss is fine. It's just the fact that he starts with two kind of powerful summons that really irks me. So I feel like I have to summon. I guess you could summon and then force it out, but still kind of lame. But it's a good fight, though. Commander Neal is a good fight. So I have to leave him in B. Only below O'Neill because he's annoying. And he's also a required boss if you want to get to the Halley Tree. So let's talk Bale the Dread. Bale the Dragon the Dread. Alright, I told y'all I was going to be brutally honest, and here it is. Bale is ridiculously stupid. He is literally all flare, no substance. His attacks are really hard to see because the camera sucks like really bad. The floor is an enemy just as much as Bale is. Getting a hit on him is really difficult. I just don't enjoy fighting him. I really don't. It feels like a slog to fight him. Especially second phase. Although he doesn't have the biggest health pool in the DLC, it's still pretty ridiculously high. Summoning is pretty much a requirement for me for this boss. I don't like it. D tier. Just for the uniqueness. Better than the Mother of Fingers, that's for sure. D tier. I don't like Bale. It's mostly the camera. I feel like if the camera wasn't such a big issue with a lot of these DLC bosses, they'd be higher up. But when the floor is an enemy, as well as just him attacking is kind of difficult to see, and the camera is bad, that's like every layer possible working against you. It's just not fun. At least his arena is big enough to compensate, I guess. Falling Star Beast. The more I fight it, the more I wonder what the heck it's doing here. But I think Astel, the big magic bug doohickey dude over here, is a evolved version of the Falling Star Beast, if I'm not mistaken, which is cool. So I guess the Falling Star Beast has to exist for lore reasons, but I'll be honest with you, I really don't like fighting it. Any boss where most of its attacks are just there to knock you on your back is extremely annoying. I didn't mind it at first, but I think the more I fight it, the more annoying it gets. I'm gonna put him top D, just because he's cool, unique, but not really fun to fight more than once. Once you've gotten it down, it's kind of just a slog. Let's talk about the Erdtree Avatar. Another good solid fight. I do count them as bosses. There are one or two, I think, sprinkled around that don't have health bars, but typically they're boss fights around Erdtrees for you to get the crystal tears, so really good rewards. They're a pretty solid fight. Depending on the variant, they can have some really annoying moves that they just like to spam. Like the Rot one, and Caleb likes to just keep doing the Rot spread over and over and over again. The one with the tracking holy beams is really stupid, but other than that, pretty fun, solid fight. Bottom B, just good. Just a good fight. Let's get into the DLC out of the way. Okay, so here's one where I really had to replay the game. Here's one where I had to really replay the game to get my thoughts down. Putrescent Knight sucks. I didn't mind it at first. I think it's because I just went ahead and summoned and did everything I possibly could to cheese it. And I used the shield the second time, but then the third time, when I went melee only, I realized, oh hey, this boss kind of sucks. Arena's cool. He looks unique enough. Rewards are alright. You get the Saint Trina quest line. And he gives you a remembrance. That's kind of cool, I guess. But I don't really like him. He does a ridiculous amount of damage. His speed is ludicrous. It's like just hitting him is kind of a challenge. So top D. I just don't like Putrescent Knight. I don't look forward to fighting him again. And just, I'm not counting this towards the D ranking, but just as a note, just getting to him is extremely annoying. That whole bottom area below the Cerulean Coast is extremely irritating. I hate it, and I don't like it. That's redundant. So yeah, bottom or top of D, I don't like it. It's just that it's kind of unique. The rewards are good. Arena, Saint Trina, all that stuff that puts it above these guys. I'm being a little more true to myself this time around. I've recorded this video like 3 times, but I always felt like the list just wasn't right. And I was right. It wasn't right. Let's do one more DLC and then I'll take a break from that. Golden Hippo. Another one that was fine the first 2 times I fought it actually, but then for some reason every time after the fact is like the most annoying boss ever. Really unique looking. Arena's way too small. Go ahead and say that right now. Arena sucks. Camera issues aren't as bad, but still some occasional ones there. A seemingly unblockable mouth bite attack. The reward is literally just a scatter tree fragment. I don't like the boss. It's just annoying for the sake of being annoying. And it repeats once or twice as well. So that's fun. Fire Giant. Okay. Y'all in the community display a severe lack of skill. AKA, you've got a skill issue. Fire Giant is not that hard. Literally just run to leg, 1 or 2 charge attacks on the horse, run away, wait for another opening, run back in, charge attacks on the leg again, run away, rinse, repeat, even in the second phase. Is it tedious? Yes. Is it annoying to do? Yes, but he's not hard. His rewards are kind of decent, gives you a lot of runes, he's kind of cinematic. He is just a C tier boss. He exists. He's fine. But good grief, he is not top 3 worst bosses in the game. Y'all need to chill. Y'all need to chill. Okay? He's fine. He is okay. This one's kind of funny. The Draconic Tree Sentinel. I always felt like I had an issue with him. Like I seemingly always died to him at least once. I thought that was a me issue, but it turns out a lot of people actually just always seem to get thrown off by how much damage he does. Now he's good. I would put him in B. However, the thing that's keeping him at C is his stupid horse spamming fire breath every time you try to heal. Literally every freaking time. I don't believe you should have to heal in the middle of a boss's attack. They should give you enough natural openings to do that crap. And he is just, the artificial difficulty on display for him is just absurd. Most of the other moves are fine. It's just that one that puts him down at C. So granted, he is top C. But he is C nonetheless. Really annoying. He is a fight that exists. Gives you a lot of runes though. Regal, Regal Ancestor Spirit, C tier. It's a boss that exists. It's really freaking easy, even though it looks great. Looks beautiful, everything about it looks beautiful, but it's like the easiest boss ever. I kept fighting him again and again just to double check and make sure I wasn't going crazy, because it's a remembrance boss. This is a remembrance boss. It gives you a remembrance. But no, I'm not crazy. It's just dirt easy. More unique than these, I guess. So, somewhat towards the middle of C tier. Just cool, I guess. And plus getting to it is extremely annoying. Again, I'm not counting that towards the ranking, but a note. Just a minor note. Red Wolf of Radagon. I'm only counting this one because it's required. It's a required boss for the most part. It is in the academy, and you have to kill it. So, I'm going to be a little more pessimistic this time. I don't actually mind the boss that badly, but I think I'm going to put it in D tier just because it's annoying for no freaking reason. It hops around like crazy. The reward sucks if you don't actually have a magic or faith build. It's just an annoying fight. You do it, and it's annoying. And you have to make a run back every time you lose to it, which is also annoying. It's just a boss that could be deleted and nothing would change. So, that's a bit of an issue. Again, some of these bosses, like the Royal Knight Rouletta, just seem like they're there to make some kind of sense, to make sure there is a guardian of the place they are in. So, Red Wolf, actually, I'm going to leave him bottom of D tier. He's just not really fun to fight. I'm going to keep it real with you. He's a bit ridiculously fast. He hops around like crazy. He's just not really fun to fight. And his reward still sucks. So, leaving him there. So, you might have noticed by now, or I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. You might have noticed by now that the Furnace Golem is down here, and you're probably wondering why the heck are you putting the Furnace Golem here. It's not a boss, but I really want to talk about it. So, why the crap are these things so stupid? Like, seriously, just learning how to kill these guys effectively takes forever. And then actually fighting them is the most slow, tedious slogfest I have ever seen. It takes forever to take one down, and it's just... They're not even hard after a certain point. They're just annoying to kill. Honestly, you could delete them, put their rewards somewhere else, and nothing would change. Like, it's cool that they can take out fields of enemies for you if you want them to, and the reward is technically good, but man, what the heck? Like, they're not infuriating, though. They're not like these guys, but they're just so boring. And then one of them makes it to where you have to throw a giant fire pot at the top. That's ridiculous. These things were... I'm going to make a video one day. I swear the DLC was not tested. I feel like if From Software did more testing and they had more time to make this DLC, they would have seen some of these things and been like, ooh, we need to change that. But the Furnace Golem was just so stupidly pointless. It's so annoying, so slow. Let's talk about the Valiant Gargoyles. I'm only keeping these here because they're kind of a big talking point. Everyone hates these guys, apparently. And I've never actually had a problem with them. First time I didn't summon, second time I did, third time I was also playing with somebody, so it doesn't count. So, maybe because I haven't fought them enough times, but I never had that big of an issue with them. Granted, they still don't play off of each other well, and they're not unique or anything like that. They could probably be removed and nothing would change, so I guess top of D tier, but man, they're not that bad. I've dealt with them pretty easily. I think maybe you all got there too early. Maybe you should have came back later for that crap. Because I remember them being oddly passive. Like when you're attacking one, the other will kind of just stick around for a bit. And that happened consistently. So I'm not sure. Maybe I just kept getting lucky. So I guess I just kept getting lucky because they weren't that bad. I kind of want to put them in C, but they are a really lazy repeat boss, so I'm going to put them in D tier. Still not that bad to beat. More entertaining than the Putrescent Knight. Let's talk the very first main boss of the game, Margit. Honestly, he's only really good as a tutorial boss. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's kind of all he's good for. Like, that's it. Arena is just whatever. He's just whatever. He's about the definition of a bottom C tier as you could possibly get. Doesn't even give you good rewards. He's just a really good first boss, and that's it. Let's get a DLC one out of the way. Midra, let's go! I found the attacks of Midra to be normal, well-paced, not infuriating. He has this one beam attack that he seems to spam when you try to heal, but because he is slower, you have more chances to heal. So, I like Midra a lot. He's also got lower poise than a lot of the DLC bosses, so cool. I just like Midra. The arena at least has a bit more of like a broken down mansion aesthetic to it, despite being the same shape as every other arena in the DLC. So yeah, I like Midra. Probably my favorite boss in the DLC. Yeah, my favorite boss in the DLC, easily. So, coolio. Ulcerated Tree Spirit, delete it. Not as much as Deathrite Bird, but delete it. Like, seriously, what? You can't even tell what this thing's doing half the time. You're just sitting next to it, spamming heavy attacks until it goes down for poise. or you're poisoning it or bleeding it or something. Like, no one actually knows how to fight this thing properly. There's like 2 moves you might know how to dodge, but this thing is ridiculously dumb. I don't think anyone likes fighting these things. I think you could delete it and nothing would change. Get rid of it. Moving on. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. Plastudissex. C tier, just because it's a remembrance boss. Arena looks cool. He looks cool. But really, I mean, he's kind of annoying to fight. Like, really, with the red lightning spam and the flying around like crazy. It's cinematic, it looks cool, but when you really boil it all down, fighting him is just not very fun. So, I'm keeping him in C tier. I don't actually go out of my way to fight him, I'm just taking what objectively is good about him into his consideration. And man, if he does hit you with that one flying attack, good luck. Rykard, baby! Let's freaking go, S tier. Rykard's fantastic. He is the best gimmick fight in the Souls saga. I'm putting Elden Ring in there, I don't care. Best gimmick fight ever made. It just works. It works perfectly. His moveset feels natural and not gimmicky, like with 3 attacks like Yorm the Giant in Dark Souls 3. You get a unique weapon as a gimmick, but the weapon itself functions. It has its own moveset. You can actually use it after the fact. It's actually a decent PvP weapon. It's actually just a decent strength weapon in general. The arena looks amazing. He looks amazing. The rewards are amazing. That whole Volcano Manor process of getting to him is amazing. You don't have to do all that, but still, Rykard is amazing. Best gimmick fight, hands down. Easy S tier. Not even close. Easy. And it's kind of like you can make him as difficult as you want, right? Because you can upgrade the Serpent Hunter and all that stuff. It's just really cool. Alright, we're getting up to the big boys here. We're getting up to the big boys. Why the crap is he so freaking loud? Getting to the big ones. Let's talk about Fia's champions. So, cool idea, really freaking annoying execution. So, I don't mind NPC fights. I know a lot of people hate these kinds of fights for some reason. I think they're cool. They're a cool way to display different styles of builds you could be using. But there's the one guy with the one Ash of War that's really freaking annoying. So I'm going to leave them at C tier because that one's... They're not even that hard. They just exist. They are bosses. They are a boss that exists, and that's okay. That's all they need to be. Cool idea. Okay execution. Fia's questline. Yada yada. Godric the Grafted. A really good fight, and that's it. That's it. He's just a decent fight. He doesn't really look that interesting in my opinion. Rewards aren't really that great, including his own remembrance and Great Rune. It's just he's a boss that exists. I know a lot of people love him for some reason, but he's a boss. He's a good fight for when you find him, and that's it. He is just a good boss. Actually, I guess considering the amount of complaints I've had, I guess I should put him a little higher, but he is a good fight that exists. I don't really like anything else. It's just that he's a good fight. Arena doesn't really look good either. I might have said that already. Anyways, moving on. My voice is giving out. Let's go to the DLC, why don't we? The Dancing Lion. Okay, I'm gonna be a little fair. If the camera issues were solved, it might be an acceptable fight. But as it is right now, I hate this boss. I don't understand where the love for this boss comes from. Its melee attacks all look the same, like all of them. The elemental thing is cool in concept, but because the camera sucks so bad, its execution is terrible. I'm telling you, the camera in the DLC really is a huge issue. Like I'd like to think that if the camera weren't a problem, Divine Beast Dancing Lion might be in B tier. Maybe, I think. But just fighting him is the most annoying thing ever. And like I said, any boss that just knocks you on your back every 2 seconds, immediately really annoying. So, I don't like Dancing Beast. He's just annoying to fight. I summon for him pretty much every time now. I've fought him enough times without summoning. I've learned him enough. I don't care. I'm now going to summon every time because he is just obnoxious. Again, the elemental thing is cool idea, but the camera kills it. The tedious nature of the fight kills it. Cool rewards, I guess. To be fair, he is not bottom. He is not bottom D tier. Let's put him higher. Let's put him next to Golden Hippo. I like him better than Matir. So that's alright. Let's talk about Morgott. I actually like Morgott more than I used to. I used to not like him a lot, but he's a good boss. He's B tier. He's pretty good. I like him quite a bit. His moveset, I think, is somehow less annoying than that of Godfrey, despite sharing an arena. And he does have like your occasional roll catches and stuff, but he's a lot more telegraphed. He's a lot more telegraphed than a lot of bosses. Or he's more telegraphed than I give him credit for. He's a good boss. I like him a bit. he's a bit higher than these guys. Actually, I think he's top B. He is a good boss. He's a pretty good boss. I enjoy fighting him. I don't want to kill myself when I get to the arena for the first time. So, there is that, I suppose. Congratulations, Morkat. You don't make me want to off myself. Speaking of people wanting to off themselves, Sir Gideon Ofnir the All-Knowing. Okay, so I'm biased. I like this guy. Is he objectively amazing? No. I think he's objectively good, though. Granted, for challenge runners, he must be a complete pain. Like a huge pain. But if we're looking at what he is, what purpose he serves, I think he's really good. And the only reason I can count story for this one is because you actually talk to the guy. You get to the round table hold, you talk to him, you can talk to him repeatedly, you can learn a little bit more from him, you see him studying all the time, so when he comes to stop you and suddenly he knows like 50 million spells, it makes sense because you saw him studying all that. It makes narrative and environmental sense for him to be here. With that said, yes, he is extremely annoying to fight. But hey, if you're not willing to use the tools the game gives you, using y'all's logic against you, then, well, whose fault is that really? Sir Gideon's not really that difficult as long as you are willing to take any measure to kill him. I have funny clips of me like killing him in like 4 hits. Can be done, and it's quite funny. So I like him. I like that he does have a variety of spells. It just makes sense for him. He's a pretty cool roadblock. It's a personal preference. I like him. Star Scourge Radahn. I'm so mixed on Radahn. He's looks fantastic. Rewards are great. But actually fighting the guy, it's like the opposite of Godric. Everything except for the fight is cool. He has a variety of attacks, but you don't really get to see much of it because just standing under him and circling behind him constantly is kind of the best method of killing him. It's a weird fight. It's meant to be exclusively cinematic. You can unlock the underground area. B tier, I guess, but like fighting him is so bizarre. It feels weird. Pretty high B tier, but like I don't know, fighting him is just weird. If the rewards, the environment, and like everything appearance-wise wasn't so good, he'd probably be top C. And it's not like he doesn't have a variety of moves, it's just that getting around them is weirdly easy. I think the reason we struggled with him a lot at first when we played Elden Ring is because we tried to fight him like normal, like dodging. We didn't really know that you could just rush him and just stand there, and he's kind of easy. So that's Radahn for you, I guess. He's weird, but I'll just leave him at B because he's probably not supposed to be that weird. Moving on, let's talk about Rennala. Speaking of looks carrying a boss, so Rennala can be annoying, depending on what build you're running, but if we're talking about a standard melee build, she's good. She is a good boss that exists. Now, what elevates her is the arena looks fantastic, both phases. Her moveset is pretty diverse. The rewards are great. You get to respec when you beat her. She gives you some really good sorcery rewards if you want to. She is just a good boss. Put her above the Erdtree thing because that. If it wasn't for the really great arena and good rewards, as well as being able to respec, she'd probably be top C, a boss that exists. But because that sort of environment is so good, it kind of elevates her up. So that's a solid B tier for Rennala. I personally like Rennala. And no, it's not because of the feat. That's a meme. Be quiet. Time to get to Mohg, the Lord of Blood. So, the reason I like Mohg the Omen more than Mohg, Lord of Blood, which is the one you have to beat to access the DLC, is because Mohg Supreme, let's call him Mohg Supreme. Mohg Supreme's second phase is a bit problematic. First phase is solid, that's pretty much all of Mohg the Omen, but Mohg Supreme is really freaking annoying to fight. So basically what he does is, based on your RNG, he will fly around and spread Blood Flame all over the place, and that's all he does. He'll sometimes just fly everywhere just spreading Blood Flame, and that's all the moves he uses. Fighting him becomes borderline impossible. But based on your RNG, he may not do that. Who knows? Who knows? Who cares? He may or he may not. So make sure you're well equipped before going into that fight. And relying on an overworld item just to not get killed during the phase transition is kind of dumb. That's really stupid. And not only that, but if you discover the church where you have to beat the NPC to get the physic tier, it may not spawn the first time you see it, so that's also really stupid. So you have to already know to go back. I hate the idea of being forced to look things up on the internet, so that alone is really stupid. That lowers him down to pretty mid B tier, to be honest. Just as good a fight as Moog the Omen, but second phase is really annoying. And the transition thing, unnecessary, kind of dumb. So I'm going to have to leave him at mid B, while Moog the Omen stays in A tier. So we're getting to the really big ones now. We're getting to the big extreme opinions. Commander Gaius. I keep calling him Commander Gaius because I've heard someone say that, but I guess Commander Gaius would be more fitting because holy crap, this guy is extremely annoying. The first 2 times I fought him, he actually wasn't that big of a deal, but then every time after that, he destroys face. He does so much damage. He is ridiculously powerful, ridiculously aggressive. The charge attack is borderline undodgeable. Summoning is basically a requirement. Rewards are really good. No, actually, you know what? He can stay in F tier. I don't care what his story is. He can be deleted. I don't really mind that. Better than all these guys, but as far as I'm concerned, get rid of him. Oh, I didn't even realize this guy was here. Delete him. Like, next to Deathrite Bird. Like, honestly, they are kind of tied for most annoying boss in the game. Blackblade Kindred is the one on the way to the elevator in the really snowy, foggy area that transitions between the Mountaintop of the Giants and Altus Plateau. Delete him. Delete him. He sucks. He's so ridiculously powerful. Get rid of him. I hate him so much. Deathrite Bird barely beats him out in this regard, but get rid of it. I hate it. Heck, I've seen big YouTubers kind of agree with that sentiment, so I'll take that one. Now for the actually controversial opinions. Godfrey and Hoarah. Oh no. I really want to separate them, but oh my lord. So, for context, Godfrey would probably go in A tier. Hoarah goes straight to F tier, because gosh, I hate this man. Hoarah is so ridiculously aggressive, and his moves all look the same. We have talked about this with Rolana. His moves look the same, and he does not stop it. When I see footage of people fighting him, and he just stops for them while they heal, I get physically angry, because he never does that for me. He never does that for me. You know what? My hatred for Hoarah is so strong, D tier. I don't care how good Godfrey is. I don't care about the rewards. The arena's reused anyways. Hoarah sucks. That second phase sucks. I don't care if you can walk around him, because if you get hit one time, man, it's almost over for you. It might as well be over for you, because it's ridiculous. Hoarah is so stupid aggressive. His moves all look the same. So hard to predict. The timing, it's delay attack city is what it is. It's like, I'd rather fight Rolana multiple times. Ugh. I don't care how good Godfrey is. Godfrey's amazing. I don't care about Godfrey. Hoarah ruined the entire fight, and if it was just Hoarah by himself, he'd go in F tier. But, you know what, leave him bottom D. That's a message. Leave him bottom. Speaking of bosses I absolutely hate, Malekith. Why do you all like Malekith? I don't get it. Why? What about Malekith is good to you? Not being able to hit the guy for God knows how long is fun? I like the first phase better than Malekith. First phase is fun, reactive, it's nice and snappy. But the second phase, so you enjoy getting hit by debuff attacks that hit you over time, and him leaping around like a freaking frog? Is that what you all enjoy fighting? Is harder just better to you people? No, Malekith is super annoying to fight. I don't look forward to ever fighting him. But you can't delete him, so he's staying in D tier. So, Malekith is probably one of my least favorite actual, like, important bosses in the game, because just fighting him is obnoxious. And again, I like the first phase, but the second phase is so stupid. You know those slam attacks he does? He's got like 4 or 5 variants of that one move. Like, what the crap are you expecting players to do about that? How are you expecting them to learn the minute differences of the context that leads up to each of those slams? How is that not ridiculous sounding to anyone else but me? Why am I the only person who hates Malekith and Hoarah, respectively? Ugh. You know what, just out of my hatred for Malekith, I'm gonna move Hoarah back up a little bit. So stupid and annoying. Okay. Who do we got? Millennia. S tier. So, this just proves that difficulty does not always mean good, but it also doesn't always mean bad. Difficulty is subjective relative to the boss. So for starters, Malenia is optional. Okay. Great arena. Okay. Great rewards. Okay. Cool. We got all that down. Now, her normal attacks aren't that bad. They feel like standard boss fare. She feels like a standard boss. Until she starts using Waterfowl. And then that's when the infuriating part comes in. Now, there are a lot of ways to counter Waterfowl. Some people have mastered the art of running under her until she starts and then dodging it. I've tried that. I cannot pull that off for the life of me. I used the frost pots, and before that I used throwing knives to bait her into using it. All work. There are other ways, I'm sure. Maybe killing her so fast with bleed and stuff like that that she just doesn't have a chance to use it. I don't know. I've seen people do all kinds of stuff about it. Tanking it with a huge shield and armor is also an option. Going to the DLC, getting that deflect tier is an option. You know, so like you have options of doing, you know, to counter the Waterfowl. And then healing herself on every hit, a bit absurd. If you got rid of the Waterfowl, I'd accept that. But the fact that they're both combined was a poor decision on FromSoft's part. But in a weird way, she's so difficult, it's hilarious. Something about this difficulty I kind of respect a little more than like DLC bosses because she's beatable. You might have to exploit a little bit, but she's kind of fun to fight otherwise. It's literally just the Waterfowl. It's just Waterfowl. If it was deleted, it would still be S tier, but it'd be like really fun S tier. This one is just like a fascinating S tier. She is S tier because she is a hilariously fascinating example of difficulty. And after fighting her enough times, I've grown some weird respect for her. It's the first time I fought Malenia, I never got angry. Because she's just that difficult. She's not pretending to be fair. That's what I like to tell people. She's not pretending to be fair. She knows she's stupid, and she embraces it. Unlike someone like, who did I say? Unlike Bale, who acts like he's fair, but actually camera issues, obnoxious attacks, and more camera issues just get in the way of that fun. Malenia doesn't have any of those blatant issues. Malenia is supposed to be stupidly difficult, and I respect it for that. It's supposed to be unfair. That's the big difference. It's supposed to be unfair. You're supposed to be quote-unquote having a bad time, but in a weird way that kind of makes me have a good time fighting her. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre case. Don't ask. I don't know why I put like Malekith's down at D, but then Malenia's S tier, because Malenia doesn't knock you on your back every hit. She doesn't drain your health over time and reduce your maximum HP and jump around like a freaking monkey. She's got the poise of like an actual monkey. Like, hit her in the face with something and she will likely stagger. She can be parried. Her posture's not very high. She's vulnerable to bleed, frost. She's very difficult, but not impossible. And it's fun for that reason. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but for some weird, bizarre reason, I love Malenia. She's S tier, okay? That's my non-existent logic for that placement. Now we've got kind of the opposite of that, Mesmer. He's really hard because FromSoft just wanted to fill the DLC with hard bosses. His camera's not as bad, but he does occasionally goof on the camera a little bit. Mesmer is the most fun DLC boss to fight after you've gone through the grueling and excruciating process of learning his every move. And even then, I still don't do that. When he summons the snake, I just shield those. Or I summon just to help me out a little bit, because Mesmer is... his first phase is pretty good, but man, learning him... learning him was so bad, dude. Learning him was terrible. I hated every minute of that crap. I actually have a clip of the first time I beat him. It was kind of hilarious. I overwhelmed him with so much bleed and posture break that he didn't even get to really do anything second phase. It was funny. Good times, good times. But, you know, faster and snappier does not automatically equal good, right? Mesmer doesn't really ever give you a break. He just kind of constantly attacks you. And when he does give you a break, the second you press that heal button... Anyways. Mesmer's B. I know people put him in S automatically because, oh, harder is better, faster is better, as if they're some Devil May Cry players, but still, he's good once you get him down. And also, they need to tone the fire particle effects down on him. Like, what the crap? He covers up his own freaking moveset. Like, you can't even see what he's doing. You have to brute force learn it. So, if they tone those down, maybe I'll put him above Morgott, but... and good rewards. all that good stuff. So, good arena, yada yada yada. But in the meantime, he is B tier. Be thankful I'm even putting him there, to be honest. So now we've got the 2 final bosses of the game. Quite poetic if you ask me. You can't even see them now, but... we've got Radagon and Elden Beast. S tier. Okay, so I know they put Elden Beast in there with it. You could debate whether you want to combine them, separate them, whatever. But Radagon's so good, and Elden Beast is such a non-issue that I'm putting them in S tier. Because Radagon... okay, so... they're my favorite boss in the game, so S tier. So, here's the thing with Radagon. So... usually in Elden Ring, I'm backing up for this. Hang on, let me check them good. So I'm backing up for this, alright. So in most cases, in Elden Ring, when someone attacks you... let me get a weapon. Here's my weapon. So, not sponsored by Windex. Okay, when someone attacks you, it looks something like this. It looks something like that, right? When Radagon attacks you, it looks like this. It looks like that. That's what Radagon's attacks look like. They should all look like that. The amount of delayed attacks in this game is ridiculous, but Radagon's delayed attacks are few and far between. Now yes, it's still a lot of memorization, as most of these bosses are, but if you don't have them memorized, you are not immediately sentenced to death because the moves Radagon is making actually execute as they look. The animation lead up is what you'd expect it to be. A swing is a swing. An uppercut is an uppercut. A hammer down slam is a hammer down slam. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm freaking talking about. Delaying an attack makes you lose momentum. That's why delayed attacks were such a big deal in the Elden Ring community when the game came out. Because delayed attacks make no sense. So we don't expect them. They make literally no sense at all. And it's even worse when like the frames between charging the attack and actually executing it are very minuscule and tiny. So you're basically just counting seconds. Radagon is not like that. But Radagon also has a huge moveset, is still very deadly. The boss is still very satisfying. It's immune to some things, but it's still got a low enough posture bar. I keep calling it that from Sekiro, but Radagon's amazing. Now, Elden Beast, a little problematic, but since the horse was implemented, less annoying. You just gotta be sure to get off of it every once in a while, because being on the horse, like most bosses with the horse, can lead you to your death. As well as Commander Gaius. I'm gonna keep calling him Commander Gaius because it's more appropriate. Or less, depending on the context. But anyways, Elden Beast just exists. But because I love Radagon so much, I'm putting them in S tier anyways. Also, rewards are great. Boss arenas all look great. The bosses themselves look great. Coolio. And I'm sure the story is great. I don't really care, but my voice is going so fast. Oh, my voice is going very quickly. Radon, Consort of Mikola. Save the big one for last. Okay. So they nerfed him, and I played him again. Last time I recorded this video, I put him in D tier to make a statement. But they've nerfed him a considerable amount. Here's the thing. Whether you find him fun or not, I don't think is the point. Learning him was borderline impossible for me. And now that I've had to learn him pre-nerf, not pre-nerf, because that was apparently like literally impossible, but since I fought him pre-nerf, I don't have that perspective anymore. I can't go back and think like, oh, is he possible now? Is he not as annoying for a first timer now? Based on the nerfs, he is now less annoying on the first phase at the very least. The first phase is now perfectly doable. First phase is good, first phase is fine. Second phase is still extremely annoying. They didn't really nerf too much in that regard. They nerfed the visual effects in some areas. The damage of 1 or 2 moves. They got rid of that really stupid swipe on that first phase. But is he good? No. No. You can tweak numbers, but the thing is, his very design was intended to be the hardest boss ever, and I don't think they achieved that in the way they wanted to. He is hard for the sake of being hard, and that's not good. Looks epic. Is a pretty good conclusion if they're going to abandon this form of gameplay. But I think right there is appropriate for him, to be honest. he wasn't fun to learn, and that's the problem. Sometimes the learning process is the journey, but sometimes that's just not very fun. And if learning the boss isn't fun, then how do you expect to have fun later on anyways? I was being gracious towards Mesmer. Realistically, beforehand, I probably would put him in C2. But Radon is just... like, man, like, how much do you need to put into one boss? Like, seriously. And the white particle effects are still an issue. His cape and Miquella's hair are still way too freaking big. I'm just glad I got his parrying system down, because to be honest, he's just not fun to dodge. He's not fun to fight. He has way too many opportunities to hit you, and you don't have as many to hit him. So, you know what, I'll leave him in C, because I actually remembered he does give you more space. He gives you more room to attack or heal. So he's better now. I'll put him top C. He's better now, but I think the philosophy behind him was so horrendously flawed. And the fact that it took them this long to nerf him, again, I'll make a video on this one day, but I think the DLC wasn't tested very well. And from what I'm hearing from people who pre-ordered and pre-tested the game, apparently Radon used to be like almost literally impossible, like borderline actually impossible, so yeah. Sorry, I can't put it. I don't care how good I get at fighting him, and I am decent at fighting him now, that's not the point. And you can still cheese him. But the design philosophy was flawed from the start, and that made for a not fun, borderline unfair experience. This is my tier list. Take it or leave it. Most of you will probably leave it. I know you probably won't like this one. I get it. I get you won't. I know there's really not that many A or S's up here. But you know what? That's my opinion. If the gameplay of Elden Ring wasn't so good, I'd have been gone long ago. Probably wouldn't have started this channel. But that's my tier list. I'll probably do more rankings in the future. Maybe I'll go on a story learning spree and rank the story of the bosses just so I can finally, like, make people realize how stupid of a concept that is. This is the tier list. What do you disagree with me on the most? Probably Malekith and Godfrey, if I had to guess. Again, Godfrey would be A tier. So if they were separate, I'd put Hoarah in D and Godfrey in A, but that's my opinion. What's yours? Who's your favorite boss in Elden Ring? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video, and don't you dare go hollow.